Like it takes a lot of brain power to just not only produce the content, but then to also be creative and to think of the next idea. And content creation is full on. So when someone says like, hey, what do you do for your company? It's like, well, I create content, I write programs. They're like, oh, how long does it take to write the program? I'm like, the question should be like, how long does it really take to do this? Like, this is a massive investment of time. So as somebody who's like playing, wearing a couple different hats for the company, it's like, there's been a lot of energy that's gone into some of these other buckets over here to try and solidify our company, which has meant like, okay, I haven't been able to put 10 hours a week into just the creative of like, how am I going to make something that's really different and unique for content? I'm starting to make more room for that again, where it's like, okay, I see the value and the need to really set aside time to not just like take training content or take the content that we film every week and just repurpose it into Instagram and YouTube, but to like, let's create, like, these are like 5 ideas that we have that we think could be really successful. And let's sort of like create some new ways of filming and maybe new environments. And then, maybe have a tone shift to this. Let's bring some humor into it. Maybe this is how, like, let's think of a whole new concept and test them all out. Test these over the next month and see which one works the best, and then maybe lean into that. Like, that's something that I'm kind of moving back towards.
I think you were local, but you were off somewhere else, and you just dropped into a Globo gym, and you were kind of talking about like, I was there, and like some guys were kind of, they were broing me up a little bit. You had a tank top on. It was this whole thing. And because you're always training in your compound here or in these isolated backyard clips, it's like, man, what would be so YouTube and just so different than anything anyone's doing is if you take a couple of your guys like Nate and you do kind of almost like, it's not a prank video by any means, like a Nelk Boys thing. It's very much just like, if Marcus is in the gym and you're doing functional bodybuilding, like in a Globo gym, number one, that's just going to like, it's a production, and how how hard it is to get all your equipment in one area and all that, but show that, because that's where probably a lot of your functional bodybuilders are in these YMCA Globo gyms. And they can see you go through the struggle of that. And you do the secret mic underneath the shirt, and people are like, hey man, I was using that, and just that, I would laugh my dick off watching and be like, oh no, I'm using that landmine right there. Yeah, no, I'll be back to it in a minute. Like, but they would be able to relate to it. And that moment when somebody would come up to you like, bro, what program you follow? And you just fucking call it like, bro, what program you follow with Marcus Philly, where you go and drop in the random big Globo gyms and you put on your workouts. And then you get the reaction of like, you've seen those videos on YouTube where like a girl deadlifts 305 and every dude in the back is like, oh, fuck me. Like, holy, but like the camera guy who's doing the hidden camera zooms out and gets everyone's reaction. But it makes it so real, because so many of us that go and work out in those kind of formats and we watch you, it's like, man, but how does that look like when he has to go and he's got to deal with some fuck who takes his 15-pound, 25-pound dumbbells?